As the year 1570 came to a close, the Sengoku Jidai, the war of over 100 years, was ending. Every lord knew the will of the Empress, that they were to no longer wage war for any reason, without her permission and involvement. It had been easy to ignore the threats against those who broke this law, but months of brutal offensives had shut the mouths of any who thought Nariko was not to be taken seriously. Despite this, the remnants of the Nagao Uesugi clan were gathering troops to fight the imperial-backed Yamanouchi Uesugi, and so it was time for Nariko and her forces to show that the laws of the Empress Shogun were now impossible to defy. Murakami, all companies signal that they are in position. We are ready, Your Majesty. Good. Koch, any sign of anything from Uesugi? Not the man himself. His troops are standing ready at the walls now. The assault will be resisted at every step. You don't need to remind me of that. Apologies, Your Majesty. But indeed there are no signs that he will offer negotiation, and his new retainers all hate you as much as he. Mari? Oh, yeah? What is the current mood of the men? Most of our Uesugi men don't really know what's going on. They're just here for the money. But everyone from the capital is ready. They know what this means. Good. Good. I suppose. Chin up, girl. Win this one and everyone else will just surrender the moment you look at them. It's just been a little fast. I mean, if we waited until next year... I'd be surprised if the snows hold out for a single day more. And if we give Uesugi another winter, who knows what he'd achieve, what he'd incite. He is the only man with any power who is still vocally against you. His death must be bought at any price, for it will repay itself tenfold for each day of peace that follows. I know. So then, everyone's ready. Everyone but me, I think. You're ready. You're just being silly. Come on, helmet on, and go tell the vassals how pretty they are. Yeah, thanks. Everyone, the time is upon us. Inside that castle are many types of men. Some would be our friends in different times. But they are not, for others are the types of men who live only for themselves, and they corrupt and corral the humanity of the Japanese people. Uesugi is a despot, a usurper, but more than anything he is a warmongerer. I have taken the field to punish him for this crime before, but still he turns all he can against the nation, against peace, against the sacred authority of the regalia, all to further his ambition. There are few men of his ilk left in this land, we have made sure of that. But now we must finish the job. Win this battle, and we shall not only unify the proud Uesugi clan under you, the righteous, but we shall show heaven and earth that to stand in opposition to the age of peace is a dishonor of greater magnitude than any previously known, a dishonor that invites doom. This is the reason I was made Empress, the reason I give everything to you and this land, the reason why all this has aligned to bring us to the brink of total victory on this day. After today, you will not need to draw your sword to make your will known. After today, there will be no question of who rules and who serves, of who cultivates virtue and who invites disgrace. This future waits for us, behind those walls, beyond the smoke and blood, beyond the last beating of the war drum, the last thunder of the matchlock, the last soul offered to Bishamonten. So seize it, for your clan, for a bright new age, and for Japan! Here we go then, it's time to assault Kasugayama Castle and satisfy our causus belli against the Uesugi clan, showing to the land that Nariko is not to be trifled with. But with over 500 defenders inside, the amount of skirmishing fire coming down is extreme, and Nariko is forced to run inside and not bother firing back at those skirmishes because the weight of fire is too high. She's already lost half her health. Now the outer castle wasn't defended by the enemy, which was curious. They had so many troops they could have easily put a few hundred down here and stopped us getting in to prolong the amount of time they could have been shooting us for. But that's not going to make a huge difference to the enemy's defensive plan, because even though we can storm in and quickly take this outer bastion of the castle, as we walk up this hill to start trying to open the next gate, they're still going to have plenty of time and plenty of opportunities to hit us with arrows and gunshots, and this is going to inflict major damage on our forces. We of course have our own skirmishers who'll be shooting back, and as we get close that gets easier and easier, just knocking enemies down off these towers. But still, it's not going to be enough. They have so many skirmishers that we're going to be taking a lot of fire, especially from the more distant towers, which are absolutely swarming with enemies. Here I'm trying to avoid being on the right side of our column because we're just taking sustained arrow fire, but we can't do it. The only way to get out of the arrow fire is to get into the gatehouse, and that is absolutely packed with enemy infantry. So now Nariko is going to help out right at the front of this battle, showing her own prowess by not backing down from being in extreme mortal peril. We can use the cavalry pike though to actually reduce the danger to our own selves by making sure we're always about one man back from the front and are stabbing over the shoulders of allied forces. This is super effective. You can see I'm racking up the kills there in the feed on the left. Eventually though I get even more wounded and try to fall back to take stock of the situation, still taking tons of fire from that tower. You can see the arrows just zooming in and slamming into our closely packed group of troops. Reinforcements are on the way because we're almost out of forces up here at the breachhead where we're trying to force our way in, and they too are going to be taking fire from one of the other towers. Checking the numbers, we've fallen below the enemy's numbers, which is never a good thing for an attack, and the enemy actually still have a wave of reinforcements yet to come on their side. Little did I realise at this point in the battle. The main reason we're taking so much damage is the skirmishing fire more than the enemy's melee troops, who are probably just trading one for one or even worse than that with us, since our troops are generally of decent quality. So we need to break through this choke point and get to those towers and start neutralising those skirmishers. That means Nariko is coming right back onto the front line despite being on the verge of dropping out due to wounds, to try and push this through a little bit more quickly. Luckily we do break through into this courtyard, so we can now start fanning out, taking out individual skirmishers, and then we'll have free reign to move both into cover away from the skirmishing fire of more distant enemies and to move in close with other skirmishers and take them out in melee. The troop lying in ambush there behind that building is found and taken out. Nariko staying up close to the hill where the skirmishers further up the mountain won't be able to fire at her, but of course we eventually do have to just run straight up this hill, taking more fire to try and open another gate. So our forces looking pretty thin on the ground. We've got reinforcements coming in, but the actual group of men we have at the front is pretty small, and the enemy have a couple of hundred troops still inside this final courtyard, many of them right behind the gate, and they're going to offer a pretty steadfast defense, as really it's going to be a question of numbers here. We're fortunately out of the line of sight of the enemy's remaining skirmisher tower, but still a brutal fight, and Nariko is finally wounded trying to help the push through. This doesn't necessarily spell the end of our fight because we are quite near to victory, but then we see a message saying that new enemies have arrived. That means a couple of hundred more enemies have probably just spawned out inside this courtyard, and we've got all of our forces now advancing in single file trying to catch up with the battle. That was going to be a disaster, as the big group of enemies would have charged out to fight our exposed formation. So basically I called the battle off. We're going to retreat. The enemy apparently going to let us retreat as well, taking our wounded with us. We ended up losing under 100 killed, the enemy over 300 killed. So in terms of an exchange, things actually went quite well, but we did fail to take the castle, and the amount of wounded on our side is absolutely enormous. Virtually the entire army is wounded at this point, so we are going to need to basically let many of these officers now fall back and drop out of this part of the war. But that is where the strength of the Imperial fiefdoms is now going to come into play, because of course we are the largest clan or clan-like entity. We have access to massive numbers of troops, so all I needed to do was simply gather up other officers, and pretty soon I had another army of similar size, some of them being the same officers with their troops now recovered from their wounds, to come in and simply attack Kasugayama again in another relentless assault. Like in the last battle, we were able to rush up to the second gate without all that much resistance, and then the real fighting began. This time, of course, the enemy's skirmisher count is going to be much lower, since we actually defeated most of them in that previous fight. So that makes it much safer for us to be having a protracted engagement at the gatehouse while under skirmishing fire, because there'll just be so much less of it.
Still though, we are going to want to move on as quickly as possible to minimise those casualties, and Nariko, probably thinking about minimising the casualties herself, is slashing once again at the very front of this battle, just trying to clear a way through this gatehouse so we can get this over as quickly as possible, and of course striking a decent amount of fear into our enemies and morale boosting courage into our allies by having her, the Empress herself, fighting on the front line of this war. And after some hard and risky fighting, we do eventually break through into this courtyard. There are a few more defenders around the gatehouse. They can't do much to stop us now. The ground looks pretty open, still taking that skirmishing fire, so we need to get into the next sector of the castle, but the way is clear to just run and do so right away. So as we come up into the final area of the castle, it actually had no melee defenders inside at all. We simply stormed inside. It was just the skirmishers in the towers left. They're still fighting on though. They will not be giving this up, so now we have to fight up the stairs, advancing dangerously in single file into the enemy. Nariko might as well stay on the ground since there's little hope of actually getting to the front of that single file queue to fight, but from the ground, thanks to the design of the tower, we can still help out by just sniping away at enemies, making it easier for our own forces to hack their way up those stairs. Someone being thrown out of the tower there. It's a violent final part of this engagement, which is of course the final part of this short war, which hopefully will be the final part of the much larger age of war that we are trying to escape from. This battle has been won. The forces let up a cheer, perhaps for the last time now, as Kasugayama falls, the Uesugi clan is destroyed, and the remaining clans surely know they cannot stand up to us anymore.
I am glad you survived, Lord. Lady Yamanouchi wishes you dead, but I will vouch for your safekeeping, so long as you submit. The true Empress would know not to even think of uttering such mad words. I ask only for a dagger. Not you as well. Please, Lord Uesugi, there is still good you can do. Tell me, Your Majesty, do you have a trusted samurai among your ranks who you would lend to me? It seems my retainers have already rushed to their deaths before me. Lord, I will come with you. My sword is sharper than any you'll find. Ito, the upstart Ronin. A characteristically disrespectful offering, but I suppose this is more about me than you. Make haste, we go now. Are you sure, Koj? This is what the other lords will expect, what they will demand. We'll do right by them and by Kekatora here. Yes, okay. Go then, quickly. Mary, how's your hand? Fine, really. Can you write? Crudely at the best of times. Send a message to Nariko. I want her to inform every lord in the land that I summon a national council, and that Uesugi has been punished for plotting against me. Tell them he fought honorably and has chosen death as his penance. And if she refuses? Refuses? She won't refuse. I don't know. Imperial stock like that probably feels a little disrespected for all the bossing around you gave her. Bet you miss having a little servant. I'll make it up to her, I can promise you that. And my slightly bigger servant will have to do for now. Following the siege of Kasugayama, the Uesugi clan was remolded into a formal vassal of the imperial fiefdoms, joining the likes of Miyoshi, Asakura, Oda, Takeda, and Hojo. The greatest and most prestigious clans of mainland Japan were now under Nariko's direct control, or were cowed into submission by the snowballing power of the imperial forces. Summons were sent to all corners of the country, ordering all landowners to report to Kyoto for an audience with their Empress. It was the third time such orders had been sent, and all knew what this would be about. The first time, Nariko had asked lords to voluntarily lay down their arms, to no avail. The second time, Nariko had offered benefits and amnesty for those who listened to her, but few accepted the deal. Now, this third time, Nariko could make a more stark offer: surrender and live. It was the offer that the great warlords of the land had dreamed of making to their rivals, an offer that could only be made by one powerful enough to be called shogun, military dictator. After a slow and celebrated procession back from the front lines, the imperial forces found that Kyoto was alive with victorious cheer that they were to amplify tenfold with the tales and prizes of war. But beneath all this, a troublesome rumor had been spreading. That's what he said. And who is he to say anything like that?
Dunno, he isn't with us.
You mean he's not imperial?
I don't think so. Lots of strangers in town recently.
Then what's the point of him claiming anything about imperial lineage? He's just some guy.
Stirring up trouble, I guess. Bored, maybe. I only mention it since you know him and all. Thought you might have something to say about it.
I say that such matters are for Nariko and Nariko to talk about, not some shady guy. But if he's so sure Nariko's the real heir, I'd like to know why. Where is he?
Well, oh, he's not there anymore. Wait, it's that fellow there talking to the boys. He's making sure everyone hears this little piece, huh?
The thing about that is, there was a guy just like him at the inn we stopped at on the way down here. You want to win yourself a free round?
Always, ma'am.
We're going to try something. I'm going to trust you with some of this stuff.
Jewelry? I thought you were just buying me a drink.
Just take it for now. You, my friend, are now a member of the Imperial Guard, the well-paid Imperial Guard, right? Anyway, let that guy know about your sensitive profession, and see if he tries to get anything out of you.
What's he gonna do?
Dunno, just see. He's got to have a reason for spreading all this rubbish. Agree to anything he wants you to do for him, then bolt and tell me what it is. And don't lose that stuff, I'm only borrowing it.
Who from?
Nariko.
What? The Empress's jewelry draped round an old bloke in a sake den? What's people gonna think of that?
They'll think it's very convincing. I'll keep a sword on my lap, don't you worry.
Oh, heavens. Sorry, Your Majesty. Your woman's a little mad.
She knows already, and she's not a spirit quite yet, so no use talking to the air. On you go.
Far from the bustle of feasting and colourful noble retinues arriving every hour, work in the Imperial Palace continued on through the night and into the slow light of the winter dawn.
What do you think? It sounds wise, Your Majesty. You think they will accept it? It is only a case of presenting it in the right way.
The right way. That basically means making it look like the lords have as much to gain as possible.
They have something to gain. If the court is to elect the shogun, then any noble can hope to gain the position, if they are able.
Indeed. I hope they see it that way. Doesn't matter if an idea is good or bad to some. If it isn't tradition, they won't listen.
Then we shall have to start new traditions, Your Majesty.
You have it exactly, Nariko. You know, I have heard many praises for your efforts as Kampaku.
I did my best, Your Majesty.
You have the mind for all this. You've lived in between worlds. You know the samurai and the people.
Your Majesty, if you are going to ask me to be shogun, then please spare me that.
No, it wasn't that. Never mind. I really threw you into all this, didn't I? You deserve a break.
I'm happy to continue serving you.
But I'm not happy with that. We'll talk about it again after all this. The first session will begin soon. Should probably have slept.
I will be at your side to keep you upright, Your Majesty.
Thanks, sister. Soon I'll be able to sleep as much as I want. Just a little more. The huge assembly of Japanese elites began, cramming into the imperial court to hear the Empress speak on the matter of peace, issuing once again an edict that made independent warring illegal, punishable now by the wrath of the largest army in the land by far. Even the most warlike lords could be persuaded by such simple terms. Everyone was now at the negotiating table, and the debate on the details of what military measures should be allowed began. They were happy to learn that Nariko planned to split the position of shogun away from that of emperor or empress, but not all were so happy with her intention to make the shogunate an appointed office. It is not merely tradition that made it right, Your Majesty. To be shogun was to be honourable, to be strong, and to be respected across the land. Only great men could achieve such status through great victories and deeds. If instead it is to be gained through mere favour of the court, then you might as well cut out the middleman and just put a flat price in gold on it. What makes you think that the court would accept such bribes, and that they could be hidden from all others? With respect, Your Majesty, that is easy. In fact, many here will remember their former lords or even themselves once receiving such treatment from the palace. Mostly from the pocket of a particular individual, I might add. He speaks the truth, your majesty, and that individual will not hesitate to do so again. The shogunate must be a contest of military power, of raw ability, anything that those with a more despicable power cannot corrupt.
Look, the Kogo will have no part in this. She is banned from taking part in politics for the time being.
Not forever, then? And what of her agents? And what of other imperial scions with an agenda to push? Your willingness to leave us open to their schemes quite smells of compliance, your majesty.
No, there is nothing of the sort, really. You should change the topic to easier ground and return to this later, your majesty.
Yeah, you're right. Well, we shall consider it again in the light of other measures, and then make a decision. For now, let us discuss the matter of the imperial stipend for all minor fief holders. After a day of negotiation, only a little progress had been made towards agreement, but this was an order of magnitude more than anyone had achieved for a century. The attendees took to guest houses for the night to consider the day's arguments and refine their own points for the next session. During the night, Mary hurriedly returned to the palace after having excused herself for the day's proceedings. Not such an unfamiliar event for the palace staff to witness, but this time she was entirely sober.
We can't do anything if we aren't certain. One wrong move and everything Nariko is doing will fall apart. Okay, well, I'm about as certain as I am that the sun will rise tomorrow. Can your man be trusted? Totally. If he says it's a plot, then it's a plot. They're all just waiting for a deal to be agreed, then they've got a whole load of orders lined up. Including the end of Nariko? Yeah, that's somewhere near the top. And there are loads of them. Damn Masiko's been gathering minions for a while. No lords left who'll confront Nariko, but plenty of random scum with nothing to lose. Clean-faced scum will be hard to detect. She's making sure we can't prevent the outcome even if part of the plan is compromised. These rumors from the city are a part of the plan that has already been completed. Nariko will suffer an accident, then Masako will reveal the truth about Nagiko, a hard truth softened by half the capital already believing it anyway. Then she'll just bully Nagiko into doing what she wants, and the lords will likely fall right back into warring. Yeah, she's ruining everything. What's new? Look, I don't care about what her plan is. If she can't get Nariko, then she can't do anything. We have to protect her without making it look like something is wrong to the lords. So then finally it is time. Right. Yeah, I know, but if you kill her, Nariko's gonna get mad. So be it. And I think it will ruin the mood of the court. Gotta keep things calm, right?
On the contrary, paranoia about Masako is keeping the court on edge. They fear for their future and fear what she knows. They would breathe a sigh of relief if she was removed from the picture.
Godge, we talked about this. Happy or not, they'll have you killed for your crime.
I know, Mary. But you have to see...
I don't have to see anything. You have to see that you're being an idiot. There's other stuff we can do.
And risk Nariko's death. Countless others, most likely. Risk everything we did falling apart. Risk another century of war because one girl wants me alive. How can I even listen to such a suggestion?
Because what I want counts for something, doesn't it? After everything? And it's not just me. Everyone wants you alive. The men depend on you. They idolize you.
Plenty wish me dead. Plenty wish me dead years ago. And they might just be right.
This is about what your dad said to you.
It's about a damn lot more than that. Don't trivialize the matter. It's about doing the right thing, even if it means giving everything up, even if it hurts. It's about honor.
Yeah, honor. I hear you. You're almost giddy to find an important place to throw your life away.
I do not throw it away. I spend it on behalf of everything. A single life is not worth so much, Mary.
Oh, I know that. I remember all that. A samurai is always ready to die. Can't wait for it. Well, you know, damn the heavens and hells for not making me a samurai.
Mary, you make this more difficult.
Good, because you're ready to go kill yourself a little too easy for my taste.
Please do not stop me. Do not interfere. No matter how hard it is to stay your hand. You know this is for the best. And please understand that it is what I want as well.
I don't think I can stop you. How long have you been wishing for this? Since the day after I fled my family to spare myself and my men. But the time I spent together with you made it easier to forget such a burden. How romantic. And now you're bored of me, so it's back to a life of death-seeking. No, never. It is only that the burden has grown too strong to bear even with your help. And now this isn't about just me. It's about everyone. I ran from my responsibility before, and people I cared for died. This is my chance to come as close to redemption as I ever will. If I do not seize it, there will be nothing left of me. Well, that's nice, I suppose. Good for you. Good for you and all your samurai pals. You will understand one day, Mary. There is nothing I can say to make that day come sooner. And so I will say no more. Only actions remain. I wish you the best. Oh no, you don't, Lord Ito. Those negotiations ain't gonna complete themselves at this hour. You've got a whole damn night of life left. And you're spending it right here with me. My people will be glad to hear that you have ruled as such, Your Majesty. But before I retire, I would like to raise one further issue on behalf of many of my peers here as well. The matter of the allegations surrounding the good Lady Kampaku there. Yes, I have heard this talk as well. I have heard such talk for a longer time than you, actually. And that is because I have already spoken on the topic with my sister here. So it's true! She's the true heir! She didn't say that. Your Majesty, you don't have to do this. But I will, and I have. Nariko is a child of Masako just like me. But we do not share a father. I am sorry, and I know it will seem like I hid this from all of you. But I too was fooled by my mother until very recently. But now that we have come so far in agreement, I cannot possibly keep you or my people away from this information in good conscience. The rumors are entirely true. Nariko is the daughter of the late Emperor. I am only her half-sister. She would have been heir had no other children been considered. And well, I don't know what would have happened. But what's important is what did happen. It was I who received the regalia, I who was tasked with leading, and I have risen to that task, even with only half the blood of those who came before me. That is the reason why I rose this former servant to Kampaku. She deserves it, and perhaps more, in respect of her heritage. I only ask that you can all forgive me for these games, and know that I only wish to succeed in my duty, and honor Heaven's regalia. Wait, but who was it who made sure she got the regalia in the first place? Masako! Heaven would not make the mistake of choosing the illegitimate child. This is a farce.
Impossible! Nariko had the regalia before the Kogo reappeared. They were simply stolen from her. Do you not recall? Her Majesty has been quite honorable and open with us. We cannot reject this trust.
The court, quickly descending into arguments concerning the new revelation, created an uproar that was audible even from the secluded tower in which Masako sat, a tower beneath which a woman restlessly watched a man walk towards the guarded entrance. Kogo, I trust you have been kept well. Ito, aren't you meant to be at court? Oh wait, you've come to bring me to court. Are the lords really demanding it that much? I've come to release you. Release me? To do as I wish? Nariko came to her senses at last. Your spirit will be free. That is all I can offer. What? Wait, Ito, if you draw your sword on me, you shall... I won't allow this. My apologies. However, I too have things I won't allow. The spirits of the land whom you shall soon join all beg me to draw this sword. And so I shall. No, wait! The winter branches are seldom bare, don't you think? What? Hey! Die! You're bleeding. Look, I don't know what this is about, but you had better go now or you'll... Wait, Lord Ito, you don't need to do anything. You should have called for your man the moment you saw me. Now if you wish to prolong your life, there is only one thing you can do.
What? Please, Lord Ito, this is madness. What do you need? I'll talk Nariko into giving you a fief. It's an outrage that she withholds such honors from you.
Just tell me why that Matsunaga took Nariko. If Nagako was the imperial child, why ensure the safety of an illegitimate one instead?
That's what you want to know? I'll tell you, just calm a moment. It's... Matsunaga betrayed me. The Emperor's child was named Nariko, and then ours was named Hana. You must understand that she was a mistake. Lots of mistakes, really. And I couldn't have such a child. He was going to deal with her. We agreed on it. Hana never should have existed, and so she would cease to exist. But he betrayed my confidence and acted selfishly. He took Hana for himself and called her Nariko, and secretly gave my Nariko away with a new name, Nagako. Her barren wench godmother probably knew what was going on, but she wasn't as stupid as he. That's it, really. It was all his fault that everything got messed up. I was stupid for trusting him or having anything to do with him, but I know that. I've forgiven myself for it, and I know others will forgive me. So, look, no more secrets. I'll tell Nariko, or anyone, really, I will. Just put the sword down, please, Lord Ito. Lord Ito.
She has earned the throne.
But she shouldn't have been able to. This is all based on a lie.
If she was false, then why did she not fail? The heavens and the spirits are with her.
You are blind to these schemes, then. That is what you're saying.
Silence!
Koj, where have you... Koj, who did this to you?
It is nothing.
There's a blade sticking out of you. Where's... You, get medical supplies now.
Nobody move. Nobody do a single thing. I want everyone to pay me their complete attention, for I will say only one more thing in this life, and it must be heard. Amid the confused silence of the court, Kojiro raised an object covered by a sheet to hold above his head. Kogo Masuko is dead. The sheet was removed, and the truth of his words was clear for all to see. The court jumped to their feet, unsure whether to cheer or curse the man standing before them. A clamour began to rise once again as questions flew, covering the sound of footsteps in the corridors around the hall, footsteps padding away from concealed positions with careful speed, only to be apprehended by bands of onobushi waiting at the palace exits. But meanwhile, back in the hall, Nariko was faced with the sight of her most trusted retainer holding the severed head of her mother right in front of her.
Koj, you did this. Koj, tell me what happened, Koj.
General Ito, put that down and stay back.
She's gone.
Do you hear me, General? Down on your knees. Get back, everyone. Stay away from him. This is a matter for the Empress.
Lord Ito, we will remember you for this.
This simplifies matters, but you could be more subtle about it, Ito.
A crime is a crime. The highest punishment must apply, surely, Your Majesty.
The punishment... I don't... Wait. Your Majesty, he means to say that Lord Ito must be executed. I know! But no, wait. Koj, are you really not going to say anything? Where is Mary? Was she part of this?
Kojiro shook his head in answer to all questions.
Well, that's... No. Koj, why did you do this? You didn't need to. I was...
Your Majesty.
Lord Ito, I'm sorry for what I've done.
Sorry. You have no part in it. Everyone, I am Lord Ito of Hyuga, formerly sworn to Lord Shimazu, and now vassal to the imperial fiefdoms. This man is Ito Kojiro, my son. He is a criminal, and not just for this deed. But I want you all to remember that name.
because I have no doubt that one day you will be glad that a man such as he was here today. And now, Your Majesty, I request that you order my son commit seppuku. He deserves no more, but no less.
I can't order that.
You must! You must!
Have no doubt in
Imperial
that honor, Your
assassin,
Majesty.
the only way to end this.
Kodge, I order... Wait. General Ito, I order you as Kanpaku to commit seppuku for your crimes. You have until dawn. You may choose your second, and will be provided writing materials should you wish them.
Kijiro, kneeling and staring at the ground as he had been throughout, placed one hand on the handle of the bloodied blade sticking out from his side, and with the other hand he reached behind himself to touch Yoshio's foot. Yoshio, surprised but quickly realizing the meaning, bowed his head and stepped to Kijiro's side, loosening his sword in its sheath with a push of the thumb. Before anything else could be said, Kijiro wrenched the blade from his body, releasing a flow of blood, opened his kimono, then thrust the weapon to make a new wound in his stomach. Most were transfixed on the sight of the blade being drawn silently across his body. Nariko turned away and fell to her knees, short of breath. The cutting motion stopped, and there was a moment of silence. Then, the hiss of a drawn blade, the swoosh of cold air, and the thud of completion. All was still and quiet a moment more, before Lord Ito led the assembly in kneeling before the fallen samurai, and bowing to the ground. "It is done, Kanpaku, Your Majesty."
Right. Sorry, Your Majesty. This was the proper thing to do. I know.
As the lords began to rise again, there was a disturbance at the back of the room. Mari, in full armor and aided by similarly outfitted Onobushi, was dragging two men into the hall.
Everyone wait! Masako was going to assassinate the Empress. We have captured her men. Listen, you don't need to... Oh my. Mari, I'm sorry. He did this to himself. I know. I think I'll go. We're taking a break. We're going to clear the hall up. Take a break until then, everyone. And, Mari, please bring me the regalia.
Quickly the court was cleaned of any visible signs of the death all had just witnessed. The agents of Masako were questioned, revealing their hostile intent. News that didn't go very far in making Nariko feel better, but for the rest of the court was welcome confirmation that Kijiro's actions were justified. Once things had settled down, they were to resume discussions of official matters, but Nariko had no intention of continuing negotiations. She returned to the hall with an unsteady gait, carrying the full set of imperial regalia.
Listen, everyone. It's time to go back to what we were discussing before the interruption. The matter of the Kanpaku here. I don't want to say much more about this. I don't want to say much more about anything. My late mother's plan was to kill me in order to make Nagiko Empress. She is the true heir after all. But she couldn't have killed me until the land was at peace, for I am a warrior, while Nagiko is a diplomat. War was my time. Peace is hers. It will be hers. I want to offer everyone a chance at a clean start. We've been brought to this point, to the end of the wars, but many of you are unsure if we came to this place by the right roads. Well, I say we should forget the roads, and make the best of where we are now. And I will help you do that. Nagiko, I gift to you the grass-cutting sword. I gift to you the jewel of Magatama, and I gift to you the mirror of Amaterasu. I relinquish my guardianship of the regalia, and give the Kanpaku the right to wield them as she sees fit. Your Majesty, not anymore, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, Lady Nariko, if you insist. Are you sure this is what you want? Completely. What do you think, Nagiko? Your... Nariko... This isn't normal.
What luck we have, gentlemen of the realm, to witness an empress who is not such a slave to power that she will not give it away.
and another who is not filled with dark lust to accept it. A fresh start. Again she delivers on her promises. The Kanpaku is as fair as a sage. A fitting choice, if a little sudden. The direct descendant of the Emperor. I can do no more than bow to the wish of heaven's regalia, and the noble Empress. The land rejoices at the achievements of Nariko, the treasured Empress. And now she gives us her greatest treasure, a new ruler for a new era. Nariko, the gifted Empress! Over the following days, the remaining independent daimyo agreed to the terms of the new imperial administration. The fighting would continue for a time, for banditry and rebellion still plagued the land. But now the military resources of the rich lords could be put to work ending the chaos, a task that without distraction would be simple and quick. But to prevent the conditions that were causing the chaos would take economic growth and stable leadership. Nariko, while perhaps not so able as those around her assumed, was shrewd and tactful enough to deal with the task, while offering very little to complain about. A perfect start for a new imperial household that retained the legitimacy of the old. As days passed, Nariko took stock of what she had achieved and what she had lost, and became more sure than ever that she was done with playing politics and done with playing warlord. The memory of her father had been honoured, and the duties she had taken on in her quest had been upheld and completed as best they could. Once again, she could be free, or as free as a ludicrously rich and famous folk hero and former empress could be, anyway. At the first court session for the election of a shogun, Nariko was universally chosen for the role, but she refused just as completely, for she had no intention of staying in Japan. She wanted nothing more than to disappear for a while, and try to take any remaining bad blood with her. With the seas being cleared of pirates, it would be easy for her to slip away from the nation she had unified and start a new journey. But she would not do so alone. Ever been to China? No. What's it like? Kinda like Japan, but a bit worse. The food is different though, so there's that. Lots of weird nanban around too, if you look in the right places. Well, as long as there aren't any samurai. Oh, but we could try Korea before that. Might even bump into Jungyun. No thanks. Huh, you really should have more fondness for him. He was your first time, after all. He wasn't. Last time, then? No time. That's even worse.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for Nariko's Treasure. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end here, and for all your great comments and support that drove this production of over a year to its final conclusion. This has been my largest project for YouTube by a decent margin, with over 70,000 words of dialogue in the narrative sequences altogether, around 100 hours of gameplay to get footage, and then probably 5 times that length in editing and commentary. Basically, it's been a massive personal project of mine that I'm now very happy to have seen to completion. I must thank, of course, the OfficiallyDevin patrons, who are the reason this didn't take 3 or 4 years to finish, or that it finished at all. This series and all my other work is mostly supported by them, so a massive thanks from me, and on behalf of the audience as a whole, to all the people who've been a patron over this time, many of whom you will have seen the names of after each episode as we went along. And a massive thanks to the resident Offy D artist Vera Carbin, who did all the custom stuff for this series, including the lovely ending pictures we just saw. I will link her website below, so go check it out. There's lots of Nariko's Treasure stuff and much more to be found on there. So, that is all for now. For those of you watching this as it comes out, I'll have a video this time next week with information on what projects I'll be working on now that this one is all sorted. So thanks again for watching and supporting this series, everyone. Do me a favour and watch it all again, of course, and I hope you'll join me for more NLP goodness in the future.